Hi, Jillian. My name is Claudia. I live in Imperial Valley, California. How are you?
I'm good, Claudia. It's very nice to see you. I'm calling from the Dallas Fort Worth area, just north of Dallas today. So great to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm a cervical cancer survivor too, and I was a caregiver for my mom for my mom treatment on ovarian cancer. I have here. You are Jen's sister. I have met you through Jen.
Yeah, so I got involved with this community about a year ago through my sister Jen. She was a cervical cancer patient and thriver for many years, and really, got so much out of the survivor community. So through going with her on some of the trips and the meetings, I got to meet some of the individuals from Survivor, including you, and just have really appreciate how this community has embraced me and given me so much. Yeah.
Thank you to everyone who is watching us right now. How was your experience to by being a caregiver?
Yeah, it's interesting. So first, I would say, Jen's husband Dave was her primary caregiver, right? He was the one who was there day to day with her. Her total cancer experience was 10 years long, so a long time, and that evolved, of course. For some of that time, I was very living very far away. I lived overseas for many years. I worked for the government, and for the past few years, being back close to Jen, it was difficult, one, to be far away. I don't think I ever felt like I was able to do enough for her. um, I also, the when I did go to help, I was also concerned for her husband. I was going there to give him a break as well, because I recognized that it was a lot of work for him to be, the day to day caregiver. But Jen and I have some great memories of just, going on trips with her. She was in a trial that had her traveling for several years, continuously traveling, and I would accompany her on some of those trips, and we just have some great memories of just, being holed up in a hotel together. So, on one hand, it was, obviously, it's a challenging experience, but it absolutely drew us closer. And I've learned so much and been inspired by her, because she was such an advocate. And I'm just really excited to now be starting my journey as an advocate, and getting involved in some other things like that. So thanks for your question. What about you? I mean, you've been on both sides of this, so you can appreciate that perspective as a patient and a caregiver.
Yeah, I was a caregiver first for my mom. My mom got ovarian cancer in 2013. For me, it was hard because my mom was the piece who maintained our family together. It was a very strong woman, very independent, and for me, it was unexpected that I have to take her role on our family. Because my dad and I were the caregivers, but my dad doesn't speak didn't speak English, doesn't speak English. My siblings, they were living in TJ. I was with the responsibility to take care of her
Mhm.
because they have jobs. I wasn't working at the time, but for me was good to, like, my mom someday she apologized to because get me through all this, but I say, Mom, I don't have any regrets. I'm glad that I can give you back what you did for us, for my siblings, for my kids, because she helped me. I was going to school, she was taking care of my kids. It was a surprise. It was difficult being the sole caregiver with little children's, but at the same time, I feel that I did wherever I could, and I'm glad that I couldn't give it back to her the care she gave me when I was a kid.
Absolutely. How old were your kids at that time? They were
My
young.
little one was 6 months. My oldest was 6 years, and my middle one, I think, was 4.
Oh wow. Yeah, those are little ones. That had to have been
Yeah.
a lot to take on, right?
Yes, it was hard, but like I say, I don't have any regrets. Yeah, it's difficult because we want to for them to get well.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to do everything we can. It's overwhelming sometimes, but it's something we have to do. For
Yeah,
me, something I wanted to do, and I have to.
right. There's no question, right? There's
No,
no
it's no question.
question.
It's
Yeah,
no question. It's something I have to do again. I will do it.
yeah, out of love, right? It's
Yeah,
interesting you said that she felt bad about it, right? Or she felt
yeah,
guilty that I think Jen was very much the same. Jen, those of you that know Jen, she was such a strong person, you know. Um, Even when you knew that Jen was having her worst day and you knew she was in pain and you knew that she was, struggling, she didn't want to talk about it. She didn't show it. And I think that's maybe a family trait, talking about things. So I think, I've through that experience, I've also learned a lot about, just maybe talking more about emotions, as a
yeah,
family, being able to have those difficult conversations, because we kind of learned that through the process and through
yeah,
her illness, how to be better at that, how to lean on each other in a better way.
yes,
And I think, you said how you really you like giving back to her. She's your mom. You were able to give back to her. Jen was my big sister. She was 7 years older than me, and so in
oh,
many ways, she mothered me. She was the nurturing one. If I went to her house, she was feeding me. So I very much felt that way too. It was giving back for all the things that she did for me when I was younger, and all the support that she provided me whenever I needed it. So I can relate to that.
yeah. I can relate too. I remember Jenny. She was an amazing person.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? Yeah, she was always. I remember her with the smile on her
yep.
face.
Yep,
Yeah,
yeah. But at the
we.
same time,
Oh, sorry. We co-host together
yeah,
some. I
yeah,
remember last year.
yeah, yeah. And it's interesting too because I think that I don't know if you experienced this, but I think because Jen was struggling so much and anytime you have an illness, it's a lot, right? It's a lot. I found myself, maybe uh, not wanting to burden her,
Yeah,
like I not wanting to share certain things with her. And again, like I said before, I learned a little bit that that wasn't the right approach. But at least in the beginning, I didn't want to tell her things that might concern her because the thought was she's got enough on her plate, right? She doesn't need me adding to that.
yeah,
Um, and then eventually through talking with her, I realized no, that was part of what Jen loved was being that supportive person to me, right? So she wanted me to come to her when I had things to talk about, when I had worries, and um, she didn't want me to hold back in that way. So that was a lesson learned for me too. Um, was to not treat her differently because I thought that I would be burdening her too much or putting too much on her plate. Did you ever
yeah,
feel that way?
yeah. My mom didn't want us to treat her differently or cry.
Yeah,
Say I haven't died when she got the diagnosis before because she her diagnosis was kind of hard to find. The ovarian cancer is kind of hard to find, and when they say already it was cancer, my dad was crying, and my mom told him, "Don't cry.
yeah,
If you're gonna help me, don't cry."
yeah.
And we have to be. And sometimes I couldn't. She was so aware, and she wasn't worried about the expectative of life or what is going to come. And sometimes on my selfishness is when I was, no, ma, don't say that. please, you're gonna get okay, you're gonna be well. But it was like you say, I didn't want it to make it make her worry more worry.
Right, right. Especially when it sounds like she had a very positive attitude, right?
Yes.
Yeah, going through that. Yep. I think Jen was that way too. She was always very positive, and I remember, again, I was overseas, very far away at one point in time, and it was when she got her third diagnosis. When she called me, and my instinct was to hop on a flight and come home right away. And she's like, "No, no, no, you know, we're going to figure this out. I'm going to meet with Doctor So and So in a couple days, and we'll have a plan." And she was very much a planner, so it was like, "We've got a plan. This is the plan." And yeah, she just always had a very positive attitude, and that was infectious, I think.
Yeah.
So how was it for you then to be on the other side of that?
It
Your
was.
own experience.
Yeah, I got diagnosed 5 years after my mom died, and
Mhm.
it was shocking. The truth, I was very afraid because I was thinking. My mom was very supportive. She
Mhm.
helped me to take care of the kids, and my first thing, what I gonna do? My mom is not here. Who
Yeah.
is gonna take care of my kids? I have a very supportive immediately family, my dad, my husband, my siblings. But at the same time, I was worried because my bigger supporter wasn't here. I was afraid because my kids still young, but thank God I got in early and I'm still here, and it made me when my mom got with diagnosis, I wanted to advocate, but I wasn't the patient. I didn't. I don't know. I haven't. I didn't found groups. So many organizations like Survivor too. And when I got diagnosis, is when I say, okay, I need to start advocating. I
Yeah.
disappeared for 5 years, but in 2023, I decided to come back and do the advocacy work. I want like more people to be aware, to get the screen,
Yeah.
to, to understand about it. Gynecological cancer, you don't have nothing to be ashamed of.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's interesting you say that about advocating and, not quite knowing your place as a caregiver because I've felt that way too. Jen was such a great advocate and she was a patient. So everybody could relate to that. And she had such a story to tell. So I think, I've been exploring that, finding my story. And of course, that we established the foundation in her name. And so that's a wonderful thing. And, we're able to honor her memory by helping other cancer patients through the Nenny Foundation. But it is different, right? It's just a different experience. But I think in every case you have a story to tell. There's the emotions that come with that and the challenges that come with being a patient, being a caregiver, whatever the experience is, it's all because of the same reason, right? It's all because of this terrible disease that we'd all advocate to, you know, not see this happen anymore.
Yeah. You have some tips to people who is being a caregiver right now?
Yeah, I think sometimes I just didn't quite know what to do for Jen, and I'd feel like I wasn't doing enough. As I said before, I never felt like I was doing enough, and then I think, you know, uh, actually through talking with some people, just letting her know that I was there. She had a bad day, and I texted her, and she didn't respond because she just was having a bad day. I didn't take that personally, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
She knew I was there, and then there were the days when we'd talk for hours because she needed that. So I think it's very natural to not feel like you're doing enough. Um, it's very natural to feel helpless in some cases, but just letting them know that you're there is huge, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
What about you?
For me, is to give yourself some grace, and if you have someone who can help you to take some time for you,
Yes.
get it. Also,
Yeah.
look for the people who can help you to, and because you needed time for you to continue helping. If you aren't okay, you can be a good caregiver either. You need time to and not take anything personal.
Yes.
And also for me is don't give advice the patient don't ask for. Sometimes it's hard, but for me it's one of the biggest things. So because I have to deal with people giving advice
Yes.
for and putting my mom in a certain situation sometimes, but I always say don't give advice for something you don't know or you haven't going through.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Giving grace and rest.
Yeah, give yourself grace. And yes, absolutely. Caregivers need support too, right? I learned that myself. But, so I think our time is wrapping up. But I just want to say that I'm so excited to see you next week. We're both going
Yeah,
to the Survivor Summit
yeah,
in
me too.
Washington.
I'm so happy to see you,
Yes,
meet with you again.
along with
And
a lot of other people from the community. So
yeah,
that's
I'm
exciting.
so happy for everyone who is coming to the summit. If you are not coming in person, remember we have a virtual option and you can see us there and check all the wonderful things Survivor always have for us to
Yes.
continue learning.
And that's starting next Thursday in
Thursday.
Washington, D.C., and Thursday through the weekend, and information on the Survivor website and social media. So, yeah, I'm very excited to see a lot of people there. So, Claudia, it was so nice to see you and talk to you, and can't wait to give you a big hug in a week.
Okay. See you, Jillian. I'm
All
looking
right.
forward to see you
All
next week and everyone. Bye.
right. Safe travels. Bye.
Safe travel to you too.